And we are back here at the Rainbow Six North American League. Your host, Doey, here with Caliber, Jacob, Jesse, J Chick, and C-Daps to break down the games and to preview the games, such as Beastcoast versus Spacestation Gaming, the one we're going to see next. Now, Beastcoast coming fresh off of a loss versus Oxygen, who also had no wins until they beat Beastcoast, versus Spacestation Gaming, who's still in the major hunt, and a win in regulation over Beastcoast would be very helpful in that regard, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Beastcoast, 6 games into the season, are on a 6-game losing streak. Shouldn't need a math degree to tell you that has not been a great stage for them.
Yep.
Obviously, this is going to be a tough game for them, but as you can see in the head-to-head, Beastcoast have actually not lost to SSG all year long.
Weird one.
Yeah.
This is really, really weird.
You don't expect that.
No, like the hole that Beastcoast are in right now, actually, I did a double check on this. I said during the pre-show I wasn't certain if there was a team that had gone winless for an NAL stage. There actually has been one.
Oh.
They only got 3 points. It was stage 2 of last year, and it was only because they went to overtime 3 times. That team, also Beastcoast.
Nice.
So the problem we find ourselves
okay.
in now is the precedent has been set for a winless stage. Beastcoast coming in, still looking to find their form with Ferda. There's a whole talking point about Ferda. We'll get into that later. But as far as SSG are concerned, they need as many points as they possibly can to crack back into what is now a very highly contested top 4. And Mirage, they're up there making it even harder. So Beastcoast, I don't really know if they're going to be able to stand in SSG's way anymore.
I mean, it's going to be really tough, right? And we talked about Beast Coast. You mentioned it earlier, their roster woes that they've had this stage. Obviously, Mark having to play for Ferda while the Visa stuff got worked out. But after Ferda's joined, things really haven't gotten much better. Let's dive into the Beast Coast chat a little bit more. And let's lead off, why not, with talking about Ferda a little bit. I mean, this guy was excited to play, but the start of his pro stage career has been rough.
It's only 2 games, and this is something we keep on attaching to things, especially when we just start a stage. But for Ferda, it's still the worst in several different statistical categories. We're not talking about number of kills because that would be unfair. We're talking his KPR, his cost, and his SRV. They're the lowest ratings of any player in the league, and that's including guys like Mark and Hyper, who didn't have nearly as many games in this stage.
Yeah.
That's a problem, especially for a team that's looking to find their form. I think the other part about this is Oregon. That's not a place where you're really going to find as much form as you're hoping for. You have to play something else so we can get a more complete picture of what this team looks like with a full 5. And with Ferda especially, I was fine attributing his 1 in 10 game back in Playday 5 to maybe some jitters. I feel like every new pro coming up from CL was probably going to have a moment like that. We didn't see it from any other pro aside from the guys on Beast Coast, because Zeno had a really slow start. Now Ferda did. And somehow it feels like it's simply going to take way more time for them to find any sort of actual form. They know they're out of the major, so you can experiment with things now, but let's see something else go for this Beast Coast team.
Yeah, and especially because it's a hard situation to be put in for Ferda, because when you're kind of your rookie teammate, your little partner in crime, they're a couple of steps ahead of you because they got those extra games under their belt. Your experience is lacking behind. And for Beast Coast, how much did they scrim with Ferda as opposed to scrimming with Mark across the entirety of the stage?
I can answer that for you. They were only scrimming with Ferda. They did not do any practice with Mark, maybe a couple of games at the start of the stage, but the philosophy, and I know you've talked with Rams about this as well, was building for the long term, making sure that the team can be kind of a complete roster. And so they wanted to be scrimming with Ferda and be prepared for Ferda when he comes back, and it just wasn't there.
Yeah, I mean, and also to the credit of Beast Coast, every single game they have been somewhat competitive.
Yeah.
There's been rounds that it comes down to a lot of 1v1s, and if you talk with Rams, he's very adamant about one thing. Every game they could have won if one player didn't pop off for a 20 bomb.
Yeah, sure.
It's true. I mean, the problem for me is mostly their attacks. They're not dead last in the league in attacks, they're dead last in defense. But on attack, let's focus on that because I feel like that will be where we need to see like the most improvement and the quickest. Their attacks are funky. Like OXG holds the Chief L for number of rounds won on attack, but theirs are still very strange to witness. Their initial early round idea seems like it's half-baked or like super unpromising at the beginning of it, and their execute attempts, when they try, it's sometimes sloppy. It feels like sometimes they have a higher success rate on their executes in the very late round, banking on their gun skill and deciding to flood at the exact moment, trusting that they have their shots as opposed to actually doing something objective-oriented.
Of the bottom 8 players in the league, not including players that are not currently active like Hyper and Mark, of the bottom 8, half of them are on Beast Coast. And the one that's not has at least been showing some signs of life. Surf is at least getting some opening picks. He's 10-7 on entry. He's the only positive player on Beastcoast. But I wanted to highlight in on kind of a new stat that we have here in the NAL. It's percentage of kills, or percentage of like numbers of picks he's getting, right? So number of 0Ks, number of rounds he's going with 0 kills, number of 1Ks, percentage 2Ks, percentage 3Ks, 4Ks. He's never gotten an ace, so that stat would be 0. And the main thing I want to highlight here is the 44% of rounds he's getting a 1K. That's more than 5% above the next highest player's 1K percentage. What that means is, sure, he's getting a lot of entries. He's opening things up, but he's always getting traded. He's always falling right after that. He's never having the really round-winning impact that comes when you get 2 or 3 or more kills. With that one pick, it's great. You're at least trading out, right? You're at least being able to do, what's minimally expected for a round to go even. But he's not getting any more than that. And it's unfortunate to see that this is Beastcoast's best player, and he's still not able to really pop off and be that player like we've seen from other teams such as Blaz.
Yeah, and when you're talking about these trades, it's not necessarily with Surf on the entry for the attacking side. A majority of his success in the early round is actually on the defensive side, where he's 7-4 as opposed to that 3-3 as you get the split on his attacking and defensive entry. When you're getting in 65, almost 70% of your entry engagements on the defense, that means you're a roamer. And for Beast Coast, their attacks have struggled. They don't really have the right ideas early round, and Surf really needs to be the solution for that.
Yeah, I mean, they need help across the board. We'll see if there's any signs of life here in this series against their opponents. Spacestation Gaming, let's talk about them a little bit here, because Spacestation Gaming, another team that, they've been close to the major twice this year. They have not gotten there either time. Now I find them in kind of a similar situation, right? Where they gotta perform in these last 3 games to get there.
It's interesting for Spacestation because they've only ever had big wins, close wins, or close losses. They have 2 regulation losses, which are the only times they were not able to get points off of a Playday, and both of them were really close, 7-5s. They were close to, at the very least, managing to force overtime in those contests, and both of their regulation victories were slams, and one of them came in that Astralis matchup on Bank just last week, where they took Bank by storm, and it felt like they were also taking advantage of an Astralis team that was not fully there. In spite of SSG currently sitting down in 6th place because of where they're at, they're still 4-2. This has been a really good effort and incorporation of Yeti into the lineup, and maybe a little bit of a difference in philosophy for a team that has had struggles over the course of this year, but they're still in contention. The thing is, because the top is so packed with other teams, Dark Zero, Mirage, Xset, TSM, Sonics, they have to find a way to carve their own path, and they need to do it, especially over a very disheartened team like Beast Coast right now.
I think the fall off on attack has been a story we've been kind of following for SSG, right? Last stage, they were the best attacking team in North America. They were so good on offense, and I think one of the big reasons why they were so good at that were their pocket plays. They had a lot of these flashy plays with the Maru, where they're coming in with Osa, and we saw flashes of this, last Playday, the Ying.
Ooh, yeah.
Not getting banned against them on Bank. Clearly a mistake in hindsight coming in from Astralis. We'll see if that gets repeated today. But the Ying plays were really strong from Spacestation, and it's nice to see that still an arsenal in their back pockets. And even if teams like ban that against them, it's a wasted ban, right? Because now you can't ban anything else that you might otherwise want to ban on a specific map.
The other thing about it is the maps they've played. I feel like if they play ones that require you to be faster in the early game, way more aggressive, you need to prioritize your attacks over your defenses, they're far better. Bank Border Chalet, they have an attack win rate in the 60 percentile for this stage, and on maps where that's not nearly the same thing, like your Cafe and your Skyscraper, it's down in the 30s. They are so much better on maps that are far more together, that require you to focus on those attacks, and when you make the defensive shift, they can just lean back on things that they already do really well. So it's very much down to the maps that they end up going to.
Yeah, and overall for their entire outlook in the offseason, sure, they get a player like Yeti bringing the veteran leadership as opposed to a young player like Dexter. One of the biggest things that Lycan wanted to drive home from what I talked to him is their entire focus was not on those attacks that you guys just talked so much about. They wanted to fix their defenses. That's where they had found the struggles for a past couple of stages, and now look at their defensive win rate this stage. This is the growth that we're talking about, nearly a 70% win rate, which is incredibly good, as well as an insanely high conversion rate if they manage to get those roam kills.
That's right. Well, we've chatted a lot about both teams, their strengths, their weaknesses, but now let's chat about the map. Where are we going?
See, again, I always attribute SSG to having a bit of a deeper map pool. I'd call them maybe like a 5 to a 6 map team, maybe even more. If they end up going to a major, I'd love to see that. So the onus is on Beastcoast in this ban phase to pick something that's definitely going to work out a little bit better for them. The thing is, they also have a couple maps that they opt to take off the board more often than not. Cafe is in there, and then they also want the theme park gone too. They take Chalet off the board early, which is one where Spacestation already found a dub that was over, it wasn't OXG, it was earlier in this stage, but the point is they don't want to give them the opportunity to mess around with it, and they'll just take their permas off instead, and SSG still have final ban here.
Yeah, right now it just seemed like a very introspective kind of ban where there's not really any targeting happening. You're not going like, hey, we want to take out their knees in this map ban phase. We're just going to be comfortable wherever we go for. In the last couple of maps, it kind of comes down to a certain hook. Right, Jesse?
Yes, well, we've got 2 options left for Beastcoast, of course. Border and Clubhouse still in the pool from them. I mean, neither of these are really maps that they played a ton. Beastcoast did play on the Clubhouse just recently on Playday 3 of Stage 3, but otherwise it's not been common.
Ooh,
they will go for Club to come on through here. Now, this is one that Beastcoast, they lost that one play they had against Dark Zero, obviously, on Playday 3. Their last win on Clubhouse came against, and I can't believe I mentioned them twice in one day, Altiora back in 2020.
Oh, God.
Very long time since Beastcoast has had any success on this map. For SSG, it's similar. They have not touched this map in a long time. It was very dominant. They played it a ton back at SI, but since then, they didn't touch it all of Stage 1, tried it once against CSM in Stage 2, lost it in overtime. So maybe a bit of unfamiliar ground from these two teams.
It's dub house for SSG, but it has been banned against them a lot because people understand how crazy of a map this has been for Spacestation.
Yeah.
Historically, they know it's going to be a bastion for them, but the only time that SSG have played it this year back in Stage 2, they lost the thing. So both teams on the year have only played it once, they've lost it once, but still, I think the reputation of SSG really precedes them here.
Yeah, I mean, we're moving to predictions now, but I feel like this is going to be a pretty short prediction segment. The question is anyone willing to take Beastcoast? Anyone willing to roll the dice there? Let's ask Pengu and Intero first. Just Space Station, moving right along.
I'll take this one.
Yeah.
I gave you the winner last game, so I'll take the winner this game. So
Sure.
I take SSG and you get Beastcoast.
No, I take
Seems
SSG
fair.
as well.
That's very fair,
Oh, okay,
actually.
all right.
how it works.
I agree with
Do we
Nick's
both get Space Station? Do you? I don't.
We both
I mean,
get
you
Space
can. Nothing's stopping
Thank
you.
you.
Wow, look at
Well,
that.
coming
Caster
together.
unity. Finally. You know, it's taken so long, but here we are. Pengu and Intero on the same page. Space Station Gaming going to take down Beast Coast. We'll get back to you two in a moment when the map begins. Analyst desk.
Well, I took Beastcoast twice last week,
Good job.
and it tanked my prediction rate. I'm not making
I was
that
gonna
mistake.
say, you're crazy for
Fool
that.
me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, still probably shame on you. But 3 times,
come on.
nobody makes Jesse go for the wrong upset 3 times in a row, Beastcoast. Not today.
I like the fact that we're seeing Beast Coast try a map that isn't Oregon, but this is Space Station, this is Clubhouse, this is an SSG dub. Sorry.
Sure.
Yeah, so I guess that makes me the new kid that I have to be the Beastcoast fan, right?
No.
Yeah, there you
no,
go.
You're not
See,
obligated.
I'm with Bill on
Considering
this
your
one.
prediction
There's no
rate
choice,
is currently 100, I thought you would actually want to get some points today.
Yeah, no.
Bro, you got the last one wrong. Yeah, it's 0.
Yeah, it's
That's what I'm
0.
saying. I'm
Yeah,
talking
you
to
said
him.
it was 100. You know, you're an analyst.
Did I literally
You
just
get
say
the-
it was 100?
You're
You get numbers correct.
I
think
got,
he's
I got
gotten
production, but you're
100%.
yelling at me about something. All right, that's my bad.
You meant he's
Yes.
gotten 100% of the
bad.
predictions wrong so far.
Yes, 100%.
There you
That's
go.
correct
That's
for you.
what I
That's
meant
where
to
we're
say. He had me right.
I know that's what you meant. Yeah. So everybody
you.
go in Space Station.
Yes.
Time to flip the coin. It's the stunt coin today again. We'll see. It's a Kennedy $50 this time around. Beast Coast is heads. Space Station Gaming is tails. Oh my goodness. It's tails. The coin knows.
Don't love this.
Space Station Gaming. I mean, time to see what the fan vote is. The fan vote is going to be obviously Space Station Gaming. There it is.
Yeah.
So everyone, including the coin, including you at home, have picked Space Station. The question is, does that jinx it? Is Beast Coast going to maybe win now? That has been kind of the precedent for a long time in the past. Well, let's look at the fan vote, or the poll rather. Who will plant more diffusers, Beast Coast entirely or Bosco?
Bosco plant more times.
Oh yeah, that's
than
a
the
pretty good
whole
one.
team.
That's a pretty good one.
Oh, dude.
Bosco, I think 12 plants this stage of SSG's 13, most in the league. That's off
pretty
memory, so
That's pretty good.
I'm glad I
Yeah,
don't
but
read
what's
these
their
in advance.
that is
post-plant win
correct.
percentage?
We don't have to talk
What's their
about the
trade
post-plant
win rate,
ones. We
Jesse?
don't have to talk about this. They
All
plant.
right. Well, there you go. Lots to think about as we go into our quick break before we get to the next map. Do not go anywhere. Beast Coast versus Space Station coming at you in just a few.
called Dub House or Clubhouse, the map where both Space Station and Beastcoast will tussle. It's been a while for Beastcoast to have any success on this map, as was talked about by the desk. Beastcoast having a very rough stage so far, officially eliminated from making it to the major. They are the first team that will not be able to statistically play in the mystery location of our major. It hasn't been announced just yet. Space Station, meanwhile, they're in a good spot. They win here today. They take 3rd place overall, just behind Sonics and Mirage.
Yeah. I'm always scared that one day someone's
Don't be too excited.
Leak. Sorry. I feel okay. I will be excited. I think this could be the chance of Beastcoast to show their excellence, and while they might not be running for the major, they can still make it more difficult for Space Station themselves.
All right, I'll leak right now. I'll leak
the script, or
I'll leak where the major is.
Oh, the major, okay.
But I'm going to require all of you that are currently watching right now. This is going to be under the honor system, is that you have to cover your ears, take off your headphones, turn off your phones, laptops, whatever, because I'm going to say it and I don't want anybody to hear it, okay?
Okay.
I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon.
What?
There you have it. That's where the major's going to be. I'm
wow.
sorry.
Oh my God, I can't believe it.
I had to tell you.
That's amazing.
They were checking Atlantis, but unfortunately, it was a bit too wet this time of year. So. Space Station versus Beastcoast squaring off. Beastcoast have a single point this stage. It has not been the results that they've been looking for after adding Xeno and Ferda. Ferda's only been able to play 2 matches.
Yes.
Mark, their coach, was playing, and honestly, he was not that bad. It's not like he was really dragging the team down. There's been structural issues with this Beastcoast roster. They have 1 point where they lost in overtime. That's it. 5 regulation losses follow that. Not exactly, again, where you want to be. Meanwhile, Space Station have 2 regulation wins, 2 overtime wins, and 2 regulation losses for 10 points in total, and are very much still in contention for the Hanging Gardens of Babylon major that will be happening in November. And with a win here, they take over sole possession of 3rd. The remaining matches for Space Station are XSET and TSM. These are both teams that are also on that bubble of making it to the major. So you are in for a mighty showing here, friends, because going into this matchup, TSM are in 3rd place right now, and XSET are in 4th. Space Station would vault over both of them if they get all 3 points. So we will keep talking about that. The stat that we've been bringing up today has been 50 kills, because there are a lot of players in the league who are right on the precipice of getting 50 kills. For 4 of the players on Beastcoast, it seems exceptionally unlikely that they will hit it. Surf is already over 50, so kudos to him. As for the Space Station squad, Yeti and Foltz are above 50. Bosco's at 42. Hot and Cold is a single kill shy of the 50 kill mark, and Rampy is at 44.
Not bad at all. I mean, we are playing Clubhouse. It's a place that SSG are very familiar with. We do have the basement, roam called the SSG roam. It's not quite what we see right now. There is no castle in play. Speaking, by the way, of operators, operator bans that came out. Beastcoast, they took the Nook and the Asami off the board, and SSG took the Ace and the Valkyrie. Normally, for a ranged Heart Breacher, we see Hibana being banned typically on this map. So Ace is a bit of a different one. Thermite, of course, will be brought out instead because you do want that double Heart Breach scenario. So it's going to be Hibana and Thermite most of these rounds. One thing to note, Ferda is playing Sledge without grenades. I never thought I'd say that because he is bringing those secondary EMPs to the table.
Well, I guess they don't want to bring the Thatcher. They're going to bring the other UK operator because obviously Sledge is Scottish, whereas Thatcher is English. There's a little bit of a difference to the people who live up there. And as somebody whose entire lineage, with the exception of a small bit that's a little bit Irish, somebody whose entire lineage is Scottish, do not call us English.
Okay.
Call Doki an Englishman and see what happens. Nothing, because he's 4'6". But that's besides the point. You'll see that he will be very unhappy.
That's a great point.
Halfway through round number 1 right now. Space Station not really having to contend with any roamers at the moment. Beastcoast, or rather Beastcoast not having to contend with any roamers at the moment. Space Station are just sitting very patiently waiting for them.
Yeah, Spacestation, they have this system in place where they will fall back at a certain time because they feel like they've gotten as much out of it as they want, or when a certain amount of pressure gets applied toward them. Ramby's killed the drone up top floor, dropped down one floor, killed another drone, now he's back on the basement. Hot and Cold killed the drone, fell back to stock, to the next hatch, killed another drone, fall back to bomb site. Now there's a minute left. Beastcoast, they're just now getting into the first floor of the building, trying to gather a bit of control. Main stairs control established, of course, with SSG having those hatches open, that damage is done for them already.
Look at this.
But look at this.
Oh my,
They've missed the kitchen.
Oh, would you look at that? I say, would you look at this and would you look at that?
Oh,
No, Yeti. He's got the shoddy Bugatti, gets run over by Ferda. That was extraordinary sloppiness. You are some... Wow. That's a good one. Shut up and drone. By the way, Rainbow Six Siege Ranked brought to you by Shut Up and Drone, which is something that everybody at every rank of this game could benefit from. Anthony gunning down Fultz before Ramthy makes him pay. Right now watching over that hatch, which has not been opened up just yet. Xeno with one. SSG will need to outduel them in the final seconds. Bosco creeps up, takes out Slash, and Bosco, the clutch. Dylan Bosco, the final 3 kills. Spacestation, take it. Shut up and drone.
I can't take that.
Shut up and drone. Oh. What a comment that is. Yeah. Goodness. I mean, that was some meat, Yeti, I gotta be honest. That was some schmeat.
That was not pretty. The thing is, I mean, he got the Ibana killed, he couldn't get the kitchen hatch opened up, etc. And ultimately, SSD, of course, they win the round. Bosco, clutch master himself, gets the 1v3 essentially, a 2v3 that was. Man, I can't believe that's the beginning to this series, to this matchup. And it's like, it was a very close round. It looked like Beastcoast might almost have had it there. And then, you know, the smack talk in game chat would have been even more funny.
I wonder if the mental is on Beastcoast already. Not exactly mentally right to be chirping so early. I remember this was said ages ago. This was in a This was in one of the qualifier casts that we do. I hate self-promoting on this stream, but we have done the qualifier casts for majors in the past where we'll have like a bunch of pros come on. And I remember in one of them in particular, Skies went to type something in chat, and one of the pros on the stream goes, "Skies already typing in chat, you know they've lost the mental game." Oh, it's come a long way since then, but I think, by the way, that was when Skies was on, was it Obey, I think, and they actually ended up winning in qualifying. So, I mean, they might have lost the mental game, but they won the actual game, and sometimes that's more important.
Yeah, usually it's more important. But it is a good point to make, though, because if you are typing round number one or typing in chat in general, if you got something got to you, you know, like it should at least take a lot for something to get you to type in all chat, especially in like in a way that it's haunting your opponents or complaining about something. Usually it's a player or like a bug that players are complaining about, oh, I can't move or I can't throw a grenade or like I exploded myself up because of this bug. But if it's directed towards an enemy, normally you're tilted.
Yeah, I would be. And I mean, shut up and drone is a great thing to say. I know we're going to fixate on it a lot, but I mean, you're going to drone kitchen. Why the hell are you not droning kitchen? You know there's an electric claw on it. You got to look there. If you're dealing mute jammers, you got a sledge running mini EMPs, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about that round. We're almost halfway through round number 2. Beastcoast do enjoy bringing Sens. What Sens brings to the team are those 4 roly-poly gadgets with the smoke screens, I guess you could call them, that pop up.
The roly-poly gadget.
The roly-poly gadgets. And secondary hard breach as well will complement the exothermic charges of the thermite quite well. We've now actually hit the halfway mark. Toxic canister goes off, lingering over top of a destroyed deployable shield in the middle of the B-bomb site.
As long as Hot and Cold stays alive on Catwalk Rafters, this execute is not going to be easy. You could use the sense to, you know, smoke screen off one part, push in, take the gunfight, and that might be what to do.
Yep. Oh, there it is. Just Anthony takes out Hot and Cold. That screen's still there. Speaking of smoke, the toxic canister doing some serious damage. You can't see through it, but you can still shoot through it. Shot at the feet. That's Xeno down now to Bosco. SSG answering back. That obfuscation of the site goes down. Beastcoast still sitting waiting. They've got B control, A control for Space Station. Space Station have also fallen back into construction, and Anthony will have to deal with that. Slash outside with the diffuser. He has not been told that it is safe to get in just yet. There's one of those E1Ds that goes, and Yeti just misses the opportunity as they walk right in. The Warden can see through it quite well. There goes Ferda. Anthony and Slash on top of each other, sitting on it, and down goes Anthony, down goes Slash. The diffuser, though, also goes down, but Surf is inside a garage, and I don't think he's going to be able to get there in time as Fultz easily holds it off, and Yeti kills Surf yet again. Spacestation up 2-0.
I want to applaud Space Station's discipline and coordination that round, because when the smoke screen came up, there was 3 members. Yeti top red, other 2 members was in that radio door, and you could see a very, very clear 3, 2, 1, go countdown, because they all stepped up towards the smoke screen, and they all pushed through the exact same moment, and they came from all angles, and they picked up those 2 kills, and got control of the bomb site again, with just leaving Surf inside of that bottom garage area, where he could not have a postman position to see the diffuser that was planted. So very, very well played from Space Station in that post-plant retake situation, but also Beastcoast's initial execute with this sense was very, very clean. You smoke off one angle, you run in with confidence, you get that kill into hot and cold, it opens up the entire round, and then you just played it slow from there. Duked out some C4s, and Anthony did a really good job just staying alive in general throughout that round. And it looked good, but SSG was just a little bit better.
SSG's been just a little bit better across the board right now, and whether it's been drone work from Beast Coast just not being good enough, it does certainly seem like through these 2 rounds that Beast Coast does not have the greatest understanding of how SSG is playing on this defense. And for Space Station, they're not even really doing anything that unorthodox. I mean, yeah, the rat play inside a kitchen by Yeti in round number 1 is a bit strange, but it is not uncommon for somebody to play to die upstairs in kitchen. Whether you're going to waste utility, maybe get an exothermic charge, X-Cairo, something that's thrown in with reckless abandon to try to take the hatch out, you can provide great value to your team even if you die before trading somebody out. Obviously wasn't the case. Yeti did some damage, got the Hibana, ended up dying in that position. But that's a huge win for them.
Yeah.
Second round, you use Sens to quarterback your play. They throw in those roly-poly gadgets, cut off lines of sight, SSG's prepared with the Warden, and then they retake from inside a cache, and you lose it because Anthony's too low on HP, and Slash gets caught right as he's falling off the diffuser.
Yep. You are correct. Absolutely. On this 3rd round, there's Bar. So we are seeing the, normally the last picked bomb site, so to speak, the 4th option being the 3rd instead. I think Bar is a very playable bomb site in today's, meta game of Rainbow Six Siege. You can extend up above, you can play the basement, etc. And we see more and more teams getting comfortable with the Echo. And I do want to again say that Rogue is likely from the EUL, the Berlin Major winners. A big reason for that, because Daypack, who plays the Echo position or operator for Rogue, has shown how much value this operator can bring your team. And Space Station, they have really capable players, like for example Rambi. So if you give him a Yokai drone to work off of, gain information and play aggressively with, that can just even further increase his odds of winning that gunfight. You got the Mira and the Yokai, ton of info. Beastcoast has to problem solve multiple scenarios here to have a chance to win this round.
There's an exothermic charge that'll go off, SSG roaming from above. The question that we'd asked you, by the way, that you can still vote on the Rainbow Six Esports, or the Rainbow Six Esports NA pages, was talking about planting. Who will get more plants? Beast Coast in their entirety or Bosco? Well, right now, Beast Coast got the diffuser planted in round number 2. It was all for naught, but they still managed to at least get one. Bosco leads the way in the NAL with 12 kills through, 12 plants through those 6 play days, which means that Bosco averages about 2 plants per match. That is actually much higher than an average on most teams, because there are a lot of teams that just simply do not play for objectives. It's a very slow round so far, Nick. 40 seconds left on this bar stage defense, and not a lot has happened at all.
I do want to say, SSG have also played twice in overtime, so they have gotten all their attacks, played through. Right? So if you get like a 7-0, but you start defense, you only get 1 attacking round, for example. So, of course, SSG, they do play on the objective. They've done so very great throughout their entirety of their team's career, so to speak. And there's a guy in the basement.
There's a walk-in by Ferda again. Shut up and drone is a good way to put it. Fultz downstairs getting hunted down. When you see an Echo on the board for a stage defense, you know they're going to be down below. What lies in wait? Well, it can spring up at a moment's notice and do some serious damage to you. Anthony, the first kill for Beast Coast. Diffuser walked in, Slash at the halfway mark, but SSG's now retaking. Fultz tries to take the engagement himself, can't do it. Anthony and Surf shutting down a retake from Space Station as Anthony plays from above, but he's all by himself and he has to go outside as Bosco and Hot and Cold to clutch. Anthony has sights on the diffuser, walks right in, Hot and Cold stops him in his tracks, and then jumps on the case as well. Bosco, through these 3 rounds, 5 kills, yet to die, and Space Station's up 3-0.
That's a very awkward situation for Nomad because in most rounds, the defenders will open up that construction hatch themselves as the defending team to fall back. But they didn't because they're playing passively off Master Bedroom and on Office with those mirror windows. And if you're Nomad, you can't open up the hatch in that scenario because you don't have any soft-reach utility. So you had to go all the way outside, had no information like audio on the defuse. You had to sprint in, assuming they were already close to finishing off the defuse, and just died in that 1v2. This has caused Beastcoast to take their tactical timeout after losing the 3rd round in a row, despite planting in 2 of those 3 rounds. It's a tough start. I mean, numbers-wise, it's a tough start, 3-0, but they have been close rounds. Like, this is Beastcoast getting oh so close in all 3 rounds, but is yet to win one.
Beastcoast having some serious struggles. Anthony has been the standout performer in a lot of these rounds, not just getting first picks, but also being able to cover his teammates when they get into the position which they often find themselves in, of getting that diffuser down. Beastcoast get the first pick in round number 2, get diffuser down, still lose the round. That is devastating. Round number 3, they don't get the first pick, but they still get the diffuser down and had a numbers advantage on site, 3v2. Still ultimately lost the round. Again, coordination seems to be the biggest stumbling block for this Beastcoast squad. Through these 3 rounds, they have never really looked comfortable droning. They have never really looked particularly sharp with their drone work. And Spacestation, as we pointed out, aren't even really doing anything that odd. Echo downstairs or a Maestro downstairs is exactly how teams play bar stage, because you want your gadgets on that main floor. Most teams are going to clear out the top floor and then go for a straight execute into bar or stage. They're not going to bother with going through the basement unless you have somebody run through blue. And even then, it's likely to get to the main stairs just to try to put another focus on attack, making sure that the defenders can't get back to the bomb site. They knew it. They were expecting it. Spacestation still wins the engagement down below. You got to feel for Beastcoast on this one.
Something interesting to note right now is that they're bringing Bandit for a base and roam game. The reasoning for it is because if you put a mute jammer on the jacuzzi or CCTV wall, a thermite can just rappel upside down and get past the mute jammer. So we're playing a counter game right now. SSG, they want to counter thermite, they bring Bandit. Beastcoast, they then attack a repick, they change to EMPs on Sledge again, and they get served on the Mavericks of the thermite, sorry. So we're kind of trying to counter thermite. We read that, we counter with Maverick, and now we're finding this awkward position where what exactly is going to be happening. You can get this wall open up with CCTV if you want to, but Maverick needs assistance, right? So instead of making a rotation or a soft breach into the wall, it's just a small line of sight to catch any roamers, while the main clear will come from Master Bedroom for Beastcoast and then swoop over from that side. The thing is, Spacestation, they're spread out across the map. Hot and Cold plays out a pool table. We had a Bandit playing upstairs early in the round. Yeti on the main stairs. It's not going to be as simple as just walking in. And the drone work, you mentioned it, Parker, has to be on a good pace for Beastcoast, because time is also a problem for them so
far. A much better level, yes. And I mean, you're clearing a map that should be done relatively quickly, especially with no mute, especially with no Mozzie on the board. There's really nothing slowing you down. And Spacestation are not bringing tons of tools that are designed to thwart this roam game, yet they're still thwarting it anyway, which is really impressive for Spacestation, and also very unimpressive for Beastcoast. Speaking of drone work, look at where Hot and Cold is. He's just sitting in the middle of the bar. Yeti, the first engagement onto Xeno. The Zoph shoots. The Alibi shoots back better. And Spacestation have a numbers advantage for the final minute.
And there's no calls from Dokkaebi either, so if you don't drone out Hot and Cold's position, you can't use that gadget to find him, and he might just get a free kill.
And he almost does, softening up Surf, typically the top performing player, and as Oryx is the fastest operator in the game, he's able to run and dash his way through the stairs and get back to safety. It's 20 seconds, allow Beastcoast to reset. Anthony's focus is over towards blue. He might catch one through these small holes that have been created. Work against Spacestation. If they're not careful, it'll allow Beastcoast to swing things back in their favor, and there you go. Damage done to Hot and Cold. They know his position is over towards blue. It looks like the Gone 6 misses. So Spacestation still sit in their tight angles. Bosco can stop a push through Moto very quickly as Foltz's magnets in front of him. Right now by blue. Oh no, Beastcoast, you have 10 seconds to go, and I don't even think they've opened up Kitchen Hatch yet. This is not good. Bosco sees the Dokkaebi. Bosco, you just saw the Dokkaebi yet again. Slash goes down, now it's Bosco to drop. They swing their way in. Rampy gets one for Spacestation. Still, SSG in advantage. Foltz continues it, and that's it. Space Station wins their 4th in a row, so dominant here on Clubhouse as they've won the first half outright now, 4-0.
This is such a really a messy round, confusing round, if you will. And the biggest issue right now comes down to drone efficiency, pace for Beastcoast, and just not really having enough time to do all the steps they want to do. I mean, the kitchen hatch should have been opened up a long time ago, but with 10 seconds left, they realize, oh snap, actually it is still close. Sprint down the main stairs, rush to the building, almost get into a arguably neutral position, so it's a man count and plant possibility, but eventually SSG, they, end up with a bigger man advantage. They win their gunfights time and time again. It's a 4-0 for them now. And they can just go through every single bomb site with comfortability, knowing that it's already worked once. We just gotta make it work one more time. And CCTV is where they'll go. We've yet to see them pull out the gym bomb site, but we did see them play the bar bomb site itself, where you extend up as if it was a gym situation, so that we know they can play both in that case. Typically with Maverick open, most teams would stay away from this CCTV bomb site because you can just Maverick the wall open and it's difficult to deal with. Yeti's bringing out the Bandit, so now the question comes, will the attacker repick take advantage of that fact and show the Maverick on their side? No, with Thatcher and Thermite to open up this round for them. A single heart breach on the side of Slash. If you Bandit trick a single exothermic charge, that is half your heart breach gone. So you're limited in what you can open up. And if Yeti is accurate with the Bandit battery audio cues against the Thermite, they might not be able to open up much at all.
Bandit tricking will be the name of the game. Has Bandit been banned once in the North American League? I think that's it in terms of operator bans.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, we talked through the operator bans. No Ace, no Valkyrie, no Azami, no Nook. These are pretty common things, and there comes the Bandit trick right in front of our eyes. They know that he's going to be juggling those batteries on the wall.
Yeah.
Those mini EMPs, by the way, nowhere near as potent as true EMPs, but the good news is they've decided, they've subbed them out. Surf is running the actual Thatcher, the real deal.
Yeah, the thing is they need to now go below to either nade or Sophia below the Bandit's feet from his stock, or they can Sophia stun the drone hole instead, but one of those two options have to go through. They've used the Sophia stun, so now they have to nade below. Rambi playing this position on steps is going to help assist Yeti to try and keep him alive long enough to either Bandit trick the wall or just burn down the clock.
As a lot of people don't realize, one of the main focuses of an Ashe, anybody with grenades, or a Zofia is to get into that position in Lounge and fire up through the floor, either destroying the Bandit batteries or at least crippling the Bandit's ability to hold that part of the map.
Yep.
Anthony is the one tasked with taking control of Lounge. Rampy has a small opening. It's a nice play on his end. He has to retreat, and he'll go even farther back now. EMP's going off.
No,
but they'll be able to Bandit trick it. There goes the grenade, yet he sees it. Can he get it in time? Exothermic charge going off. And he's got it in the nick of time. Fultz takes out Ferda before getting taken out himself by Anthony. Numbers even. There's a nade from Anthony, but it misses! And another Bandit trick will come in, and it works as well! But the grenade finally gets him, and it seems like the wall will be safe. An attempt from Beastcoast denied. It's not sexy, but by God, it works. And with 50 seconds to go, Beastcoast will have to fall off their original plan.
This is a huge win for SSG, by the way. You're 3 versus 3, that's good. The wall cannot get opened up, and you only got a single heart breacher in Beastcoast's attacking lineup. Whatever is close right now will stay that way. And Rambi, he can just hide in Harry Potter.
And that's exactly where he's going to be. Rampy with 5 kills through these 5 rounds. One apiece. One apiece is quite a good pace. Anthony and Surf. Anthony on 8 kills, but that's all he's going to get. Rampy breaks 50 on the stage. 51 is Surf. There's a bullet in his gun with his name on it. Will he collect? That is the real question. Surf looks, does damage to Rampy, takes out Hot and Cold on the nice drag. Rampy just needs to waste 5 seconds. That's it. Decides to pop up. A bit of an ego challenge. And it's Rampy to get the kill. 51 kills for him. The Ramp Dog back in fine form. SSG crushing Beastcoast right now, 5-0.
I always talk about, I also hate self-advertisement. Whenever I stream, people ask me like, oh, how good is Bandit right now in the game? And I always say Bandit in a professional level should never be able to Bandit trick if you were to execute the round correctly. And I mean, that entire round comes down to mis-execution on a simple concept, right? The up-down nades, or whatever the EL calls it, or the nades from below, as we call it here in the NAL. And, you know, 3 nades, I believe I counted, was tossed towards Yeti's feet, and it was a 3rd grenade that killed him after he bandit tricked his 2nd exothermic charge. That is essentially a misplay on the attacker's side. But I mean, SSG did a good job. Yeti was playing comfortably on the objective. Rambi played aggressively down below to distract them. But if that nade is just a little bit different in terms of toss or the timing, that entire round will be in a completely different scenario, right? So it's messy. You mentioned the park, if you play Ash, Sophia, you can go below. Sophia was on the board for Beastcoast, wasn't used. It was used elsewhere.
Correct. That nade really was a big issue. Anthony botching that nade, that absolutely, had it hit, would have killed Yeti earlier. Yes. He did not have the bandit battery down at the time. The exothermic charge would have gone off, and you have a completely different landscape for that round. Instead, Space Station just got lucky. That was really it. You capitalized on that bandit tricking because the Yana missed her nade. You didn't do anything special. Maybe it was the phantom pressure of Rampy being down below, living so rent-free in Anthony's head that it would make any millennial blush. Who knows? I don't know, but either way, it did not work out for them. Beastcoast have had very few good looks in this match. They've still got a player that is yet to get on the board. That's Slash. He has just been a dummy at this point, a mannequin.
I think dummy is a very bold choice of words.
Like, not like he's a dummy, isn't like he's dumb, isn't like a dummy, isn't like a practice dummy. Okay. Yeah. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
There are a few players that I have greater appreciation and respect for than Slash.
Oh, I agree. I'm on the same page.
So, Slash has been around Cash Money, Spencer Oliver, the man so twice, that man so nice they named him twice. I don't know exactly what is going on with this Beast Coast team, but unfortunately for them, they've got 3 players with a combined 2 kills. Anthony, 8 kills, but they've been largely impactless, as it hasn't amounted to Beast Coast getting a single round.
Yeah. They're still trying and working their way through the map, but again, it's a slow pace. Minute 30 seconds left on the clock on a bar attack of all places. Last time it was a close one. It came down to that 2 versus 3, and eventually, we saw SSG, they won the round, as they could not clutch it out. Anthony was left in that 1v2. They've gotten half the map now. CCTV, Cash, and they got connector control. Now they can do the same thing. Go downstairs, attack stock, get the diffuser down if they want to. It's their choice right now. I don't think full clearing the top floor is a possibility, and given how passively they are playing on that window rappel, I don't think they're going to either. But they will drone out the perimeter to see what is around. And the answer is 2 members of SSG.
By the way, that alibi trick, Space Station have thrown one of those prismas out of a window, it would seem, which will constantly alert the attackers of somebody being outside. That will enable runouts to happen without really giving much notification to Beast Coast. Zeno, Anthony, and Surf have all taken damage, and they amount to roughly where Hot and Cold sits as a single unit. At this point, Space Station needs to sit and wait for these final 30 seconds. Can Beast Coast turn the tide and surf their way to victory? Flash is going in for Bosco, still holding this angle. He's got a Maestro camera, just waiting. The Flores drone unable to take it out. He won't see much through the smoke. There goes a nade. Does it do any damage? Not yet. Now it's Surf to take some damage, Slash as well. Bosco still in this spot, diffuser being planted, and that's an easy pick for him. SSG starting things off, swung on by Surf. He'll need to grab the diffuser and get the plant down as Beast Coast drops towards the stage. They're stopping Space Station in their tracks, but no! Hot and Cold saves the day as the timer hits 0, and SSG go perfect through the first half.
And again, it comes down to the pace, because there's simply not enough time for these very small mistakes to be happening, or small gaps that gets exploited by Space Station. The first smoke that was tossed out, it disappeared before the plant was even halfway through. That means Slash falls first, and with so few seconds left on the clock, if the second member gets shut down as well, which is exactly what happened, timers on 0, defenders, they win the round by default, and SSG, they don't even have to fight out that 2 versus 4. So again, or 2 versus 3 rather. So it looked good for Beast Coast again, but a very small issue, a very small thorn in their side becomes their downfall. And the question was, like, who's gonna get more plants, right? It's gonna be the entirety of Beast Coast or just Bosco. And the thing is, Beast Coast are very likely to win that vote, because SSG could seal the deal 7-0 and then maybe even not even get a single plant down, but they will win that vote for all the, I guess you would say, wrong reasons in that case. But this comes down to SSG having a phenomenal defense, combined with Beast Coast having some rough times on their attack. While the story tells a 6-0, 3, if not 3.5 of those rounds could have gone either way if very small things were changed. Beastcoast didn't look absolutely lost, but their time, their droning, and their gaps in their attacks were exploited well by Spacestation.
Well, it guarantees SSG at least 1 point, by the way. In terms of the stakes of this matchup, Beastcoast have already been eliminated from making the Hanging Gardens of Babylon Major coming up this fall. There's another team that could now see their chances be removed entirely, and that's OXG. If Space Station win the matchup, doesn't matter if it's 2 points in overtime or if it's all 3 points in regulation, that does it for OXG. They will be mathematically out of the running to make the major. And it was tweeted by Jacob earlier today, there is still a mathematical possibility that OXG doesn't make SI, despite starting this stage with a 99% chance. It would require an incredible string of events to happen, but it is still there. If you're OXG, got to start getting some more points on the board and get yourself out of the basement and put yourself in a better position to get those SI points, to be in what we assume, I guess, is Montreal. They haven't announced the location of SI, but I was just going to default to Montreal.
Yeah.
In the early months of 2023, in the cold dead of winter. Fultz takes out Surf. Traditionally, the long-standing and strongest member of this Beastcoast squad, the Warden, will be no more, won't be able to see through any of the smokes or stuns or flashes or whatever might be brought out. There's no smokes on the board for SSG, so you don't need to worry about that, but it does put Beastcoast at a severe disadvantage with half the round to go.
Also, just like Beastcoast, SSG are also bringing Sledge with the EMP grenades in pocket, so no grenades on this attacking lineup, but they're being substituted out by, of course, the Flores drones from Hot and Cold, the Retero drones, that is. So you do have explosive economy to go in a different shape or form. Minute and 10 seconds on the clock. In SSG, they can still approach this round differently. They can go blue, they can go dirt, and you can even opt to go kitchen hatch because Beastcoast, they don't have that much map control right now. And Anthony, he's used all 3 toxic babes at a minute left in the round. Another win for SSG.
Good timing on their part. 50 seconds now. Fultz posted up inside of blue, laying next to where Surf fell from. And he will try to clear this out if there's somebody playing behind the box, but no, there's nobody. So Fultz has a wider line of sight as he loses a bit of it and loses his HP in the process. To try and stun. Diffuser going down from Bosco. There's nobody to contest, and if they try to come in, it'll be Yeti to cut them off. 9 players still alive, but the Diffuser goes down. Yeti takes out Zeno before he's finished off by Ferda. Beastcoast in a tie position. Everybody's still upright, but Beastcoast have taken some serious lumps. They lose Slash. He's 1-7. At least he found a kill before what might be the end of this matchup. Bosco retreating into Dirt Tunnel. Rampy watching from above. Down goes Hot and Cold, so at least there's some control from above, but Rampy an easy pick. That puts Anthony with 11 kills to die to Rampy as well. How about a 7-0? Is that the first 7-0 this stage?
I believe so, if I have to recall, because Beastcoast, they lost 7-1, 7-2 in their first opening game against TSM and Exit on Chalet, so I want to say yes. I believe it's the first 7-0.
Wow. Phenomenal stuff, and if we look so far at these numbers, yes, it is indeed the first 7-0 of the stage. As you pointed out, Beastcoast lost to TSM 7-1, lost to Exet 7-2, now lose to Space Station 7-0. That also means that OXG, who didn't even play in this match, also lose out on going to the Fall Major. They join Beastcoast as the only 2 teams that will not be at the unspecified location of the major. With this win, Space Station pick up all 3 points. They went in at 10 points, down in 6th place. Well, now they jump up to 3rd, 1 point ahead of TSM, 2 points ahead of Exet. And you know what? Those are the 2 teams that SSG has to play in the final 2 play days to secure their spot in the major and pick up some huge SI points. That's it for our second match. We still got 3 more to go, so sit tight. We'll come back with more Rainbow Six action as it's Astralis versus Xset up next. See you soon.
might book a session, do 100 songs. I'ma let you hear them just to prove you wrong. On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going.
Like glue, the leather stuck on me. I wanna move. And you, yeah, they all want a piece of me. Everyone in the crowd wanna feel it, they wanna be me. Thought I would make it big.
Welcome back to the Rainbow Six North American League. And yes, as you can see, with that victory for Space Station and that loss for Beastcoast, that means Oxygen is officially eliminated from major contention. Pretty shocking for a team that got there twice, and here they are in stage 3, kind of down at the bottom. It's been rough, but
They weren't even in this game, but I need to go find a candle and light it for them.
hey, the thing is, they've still got SI to look forward to in theory, so they've still got more to practice for in that regard and a lot to work on with Sweater. But we'll get to a little bit more about Oxygen later. For now, we have Lycan standing by from Space Station Gaming to chat with us about that last game. Lycan, congrats on the team's win today. So as we look ahead to the major, which I feel like for Space Station, you got to close it out, obviously, in stage 3, but the major is probably starting to be some of the thoughts. What are some of the few sort of points of polish you want to kind of bring through on the team for the last couple matches?
For us, this stage, which is kind of like the reverse of last stage, it's been kind of like mistakes on attack. Last stage, we were making a lot of mistakes on defense. So we wrapped that up, and I kind of feel like the last 2 days, you guys have kind of seen that a little bit cleaner. I mean, today we only had 1 round on the attack, but like against Astralis as well, it went really well. So we're kind of like slowly figuring it out, and we're getting there, and it looks solid.
Like, and I wanted to pick your brain a bit about Clubhouse, aka Dubhouse. It's obviously a map that you guys were very good at back at like SI, and even obviously farther back you can go with this map. But this year, it hasn't been seen very much. You played it once, stage 2, ended up losing it, and then of course once today, dominated onto Beastcoast. Is this a map that's kind of always been in your back pocket, you just haven't really had the chance to play? Or is it something that did kind of fall out previously, you know, in this year, and then you've now brought back into the map pool?
Yeah, I think on our reign, as people like watched, it makes it sound like it's too much us, but like there was other teams that were good at Clubhouse, but teams caught up basically. Like while we were like basically, we learned how to play it faster than anyone else, and I think there are like a couple really good club teams that are in NAL right now. So against those teams, like we choose to go to other maps that are good for us. And then like the teams that were like willing obviously to go to, they just, because of I think our history with that map, they try to stay away from it. There always seems to be like one team like later on in the stage that'll like take the gamble on it, and like that team will either beat us or we'll beat them or whatever. But like that's kind of how it kind of seems like, at least to us, is like we get one chance at that map like per stage, and then like we lose it again.
Yeah, and so When we talked earlier, you were saying that one of the biggest focuses for the entire stage was that you really wanted to iron out a lot of the defensive issues that we saw last stage. And now we've definitely seen a lot of improvement. Is there going to be more improvement, or is this kind of the final form of these SSG defenses?
Yeah, I don't know if you, it's like weird to call it a final form because in this meta, like every round is kind of its own very unique way. Back with like the old meta, you would see like you slowly clear this utility, then that utility, and you're like they're slowly making your way to like the end prize of planning. Now it's a lot of like TDM, and it kind of makes it hard to say there's a final form to your defense as you're always adapting. But I think we're continuing to learn, and we're kind of figuring it out now more faster than like other teams are, and that's why I think our percentage is so good.
We talked at the beginning of the stage about your reasons for wanting to bring Yeti into the team. Now that you've had 7 games with him and endless amounts of scrim time, was he the answer that you guys were looking for? And if so, tell me why.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, I talked to CDAPS about this as well, like through DMs, is that like a lot of people think this is like a Dex over Yeti thing. And it never really was. It was like finding a person to replace Alex for us. And I think both of those players did it. It just like depended on how we wanted our roles to fit with the other players. And that's like what I tried to explain when we dropped Dex is I didn't feel like Dex in his like how he plays now should be a flank watch. And we were wanting Fultz to go back to entry and then Matt to go to our flex role. The only role we had for attack was like the flank watch, and it made way more sense with Yeti to like play with him. And I do like I told Dex like I'm cheering for him. It's awesome what they're doing with Mirage, but Yeti, like his energy, like what he brings is like experience is like just above Dex as well, like and his knowledge of like all the strats. It was like perfect for us, and obviously too it was perfect for Sonic. So it was a huge win-win I think for both teams in the offseason.
Certainly seems that way results-wise, but focusing on Space Station, congrats on your win today. Good luck in the games tomorrow, and thanks for taking the time to talk with us.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, so like some words for us from Space Station Gaming, and how about that? Our first 7-0 since stage 1. Space Station kind of slamming Beastcoast there.
It's mostly Beastcoast making so many mistakes, and SSG just happened to be the team to claim a free 3 points today. That's most of what it was. It was a phenomenal defensive performance from Space Station, but they've been putting up great defensive games all stage at this point, and like you said, they only had 1 attack round to really showcase if they've been working more so on that, but good grief, this thing was over in a flash.
I didn't think it was possible for a team to get 7-0'd and then have a player land 100 cost anyway.
That's weird.
Obviously,
that is interesting.
I mean, he's got 6 deaths, so presumably one of those rounds there was a survival point in there. There was probably, obviously, a lot of kills. 11 had far more than the rest of his team combined. Perhaps got traded a couple times, and don't know if he had any objective play. But, you know, it's tough to see Anthony putting up so many numbers, but still having a couple of misplays in the late round and still not being able to actually convert anything into a win for his team.
Yeah, and it felt like this game really kind of answered the age-old question, what happens when a stoppable force meets an immovable object? And it was insanely strong defenses from SSG and some pretty kind of poor attacks from Beastcoast that didn't have as much direction. Now with 2 Playdays, 6 attacking rounds on both of those Playdays, so 12 total if you want to do some math. Just a singular round win for Beastcoast on Clubhouse attacks, and that's not where you want to go, especially when we continuously say, hey, Clubhouse is getting a little bit more attacker-sided every single stage, every single season. It's just a little bit behind the curve.
Yeah, I mean, it was rough for Beastcoast, but we still got to do our replays anyway. Sorry, Beastcoast fans. Let's take a look at round number 1 first of all. And this was a bit of a Bosco pop-off, but fun to watch. Let's check it out.
Yeah, I mean, Bosco hits the 3K, but really what I want to highlight here is how winnable it is. Beastcoast do not need to let this be such an easy 3K for Bosco. And I don't want to take it away from Bosco. He does play great. He's an amazing clutch smoke player. This is effectively a 1v3 ramp. He's not really going to be relevant. First of all, way overswinging from Xeno into a shotgun. Then Slash doesn't get off the kit. And Ferda is so slow to actually get into this fight to challenge, and it's behind a shield. It's like a perfect storm for Bosco to like have this play with the shotty. It's something he's done so many times, and it's just it's painful that like if the player downstairs was a little bit faster, if Ferda was in a little bit sooner,
right,
maybe you can contribute a little bit more. If we don't see that aggressive swing out, if we see a player get off the kit, it's a huge mess of miscoordination from Beastcoast's side of things, and it just allows these plays that make SSG look really, really good.
Yeah, that's right. Well, let's take a look at our second round of replays, and this one's going to be a telestration from Mr. Caliber Jacob. Round number 5, Jacob, go.
It's my turn. I can't moonwalk as much as I wish I could, but yeah. I just wanted to look at something specifically on round 5. I talked about how this was mostly a game that seemed like it was Beastcoast making mistakes, and SSG were just there being the opportunists and capitalizing. But here's something I want to look at. You remember that Yeti play from round 5 where he gets both exothermic tricks off on plat wall? Let's just look at how he did it. First thing, look at Beastcoast to start off with. They've got 4 nades. Now, they already tried a take on this way earlier where it was mostly a Raptors push. They had a Sens coming in. They were planting with 4 guys still alive, and they couldn't stop the roam. So there's a little bit of a shakeup here, but the first thing they have to do is they have to worry about getting this wall open in the first place. Now, that seems like the initial first step. Yeti is here with every single bandit charge still left available to him, and he's going to have even more in his back pocket to pull out, and Slash's only objective is to get this off. Now, the thing that Beastcoast still do have, or they didn't have anything left in a second, there's only 1 EMP nade still left in Surf's back pocket, and they don't have any of them on secondary utility at all, which means they're relying on both pairs of frag nades to get everything cleared off the wall. But if we play it forward, you're going to watch how the nades themselves really don't do anything to stop this. There's the first one already, the first trick in a second. There's the other EMP nade, and just at that second right there, not only does Fultz manage to get one, but there's that first trick. If you look at it in very, very slowly, there it is. Pop, second kill. Anthony's off, like managing to clear the roam up, which is nice at the same time. But here's the second exothermic attempt. Wait for it. Yeti stays in there, stays alive. Look at how little HP he has there, and then that last nade finally gets him. So not only is Ferda dead with both of the nades he was intending to use for this, Anthony is downstairs trying to make sure that Fultz doesn't do anything and still has to use his nades to get this cleared off. But not only does he kill Yeti too late, the wall is still completely shut. And if you watch the rest of the round play out, everyone on Beastcoast is basically scrambling for any worthwhile position. Suddenly, Slash has to come back up to the roof, presumably to take a second to drone, and he's going to come right back in through the garage, which not only has it not been cleared, Rampy is going to be playing this Harry Potter spot for the rest of the round and is going to surprise Slash as soon as he comes right back off the roof. And the last 2 players, Surf and Anthony, both have positions that aren't going to do much against an SSG roam and site pressure that is already too suffocating. There's the kill that gets Slash inside garage. It downs Case right here, and there's nothing else that Beastcoast can do against an attack like this. Very well played, all in all, for an SSG team that, again, was just looking for Beastcoast to make these mistakes, and they do, time and time again. It's unfortunate timing. Yeti really hangs in there, and this is why SSG got a 7-0 today.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, and so if you have to give an MVP of that round, you can say like, oh yeah, Rampy and Bosco, they were getting kills, they were looking good. It's Yeti. Yeti's the MVP right there. He didn't get any kills, but guess what? 2 exothermic charges, that's like equal to 5 people, especially on CCTV where you take getting that breach open as a granted. It is a given. You know that you're going to have that crossfire enabled and really bisect both of those sites. All of a sudden that wall stays open, or pardon me, closed. It makes it incredibly difficult to get any sort of pressure. Then you just funnel in and die.
True enough. Well, short and sweet. That's how Space Station liked it today with the 7-0 over Beastcoast. We're going to look ahead to our next matchup, which is going to be a fun one. XSET taking on Astralis should definitely be action-packed, so you don't want to miss it. That'll happen when Rainbow Six North American League returns right after this.